Good morning and welcome to another episode of Empowering Teachers. Welcome to this series where we tackle the tough topics in education with practical solution and expert advice. Today, we're diving into the challenging realm of handling disrespectful student behavior. As educators, we know that dealing with disrespectful students in the classroom can be one of the most difficult aspects of our job. But fear not. In this episode, we'll explore effective strategies and techniques to address disrespectful behavior while maintaining a positive and supportive learning environment. So, let's roll up our sleeves and get started. One of the biggest classroom management mistakes teachers make is taking disrespectful behavior personally. To quote Tom Hagen speaking to Sonia Corleone in the movie The Godfather, this is business, not personal. When you take disrespectful behavior personally, two things are likely to happen. You'll want to get even and show your students who's boss. I'm the boss. This is my classroom. This is the way everything should go. But does that work effectively? What you'll end up doing is scolding, lecturing, or reacting with sarcasm. Both of these things that teachers always do will only encourage more disrespect because by reacting angrily, you cause your students to resent you, resulting in more of the same unwanted behavior. Throughout my years of teaching, I've heard teachers say that they don't care if they're disliked, that it isn't their job for students to like them. This may be true, but do you know that when you do that, it will make you a less effective teacher and make your classroom management more difficult. Taking poor student behavior personally sends the message to your students that they can push your buttons and disrupt your day anytime they choose. What happens is that this shifts control over to your students and then it weakens your ability to manage your classroom. When you react out of anger, you are inviting, even daring disrespect. If you back anyone into a corner, and they'll want to fight back or resolve to get even. Butting heads with students always results in more bad behavior. You must have a bit of shrewdness in you when it comes to classroom management and understand that the most effective strategies will not always jibe with your most natural reaction. So when a student is blatantly disrespectful, especially in front of the rest of your class, it is a normal it is a normal human behavior to take it personally. It's how we wired. But if you can take a step back and realize that by reacting you're shooting yourself in the foot, then you can immediately take control of the situation without losing your cool or your authority. So the question is, how should you react? In my years of teaching, I've found that the most effective way to handle disrespect is to simply and dispassionately follow your classroom management plan and enforce a consequence. Enforcing your classroom rules, we should include a rule specifically for disrespectful behavior with an attitude of indifference strengthens your authority and your classroom management effectiveness. This can be a challenge at times because initially, as a jolt of adrenaline surges through your body, it can make you feel as if the student won and that they got away without knowing how the disrespect made you feel. But a student only wins when they're able to get under your skin. Like the old deodorant commercial says, never let them see you sweat. Rest assured, you're not folding or giving in by resisting the urge to react emotionally. Rather, your constraint is a model for your students to for how to handle negative situations with poise and without lowering to the same level of disrespect. Let your classroom management plan do its job. Relying on yourself and your words, besides being ineffective, is stressful. Send them the message that being respectful is not a choice in your classroom and that anyone who engages in disrespect will be held accountable. However, if your first consequence upon a student breaking a rule is a warning, then this isn't a strong enough response to disrespect. Therefore, as part of your classroom management, there must be an allowance made for situations in which stiffer consequences are needed immediately. Disrespectful behavior, emotional outbursts, and bullying other students are examples of behavior that should warrant an immediate timeout separation from the rest of the class and contacting parents. Your students must be made aware that there are circumstances that are up to the discretion of the teacher. Therefore, this exception must be part of your classroom management plan. Handling disrespectful students with calmness and dispassion will decrease the likelihood of it happening again. But there are other things you do to create an atmosphere of respect in your classroom. Here are four guidelines proven to work. Number one, set the tone. Students will emulate you in the way you treat others, particularly if they admire you. So it's important to set the tone of respect in your classroom by the way you speak to your students. Number two, be polite. Kill them with respect and politeness. You must be respectful, exceedingly so, in all your interactions. I know you've heard it before, but saying please and thank you works. For your students to get the message, you need to use exaggerated politeness in front of them. Number three, be congruent. Gain your students' respect by doing exactly what you say and having your words congruent with your actions. If you require your students to keep their desks clean and neatly organized, but you don't keep yours that way, then your students will notice. They glean more about who you are from what you do than for what you say. Motto: stop telling your students how to expect them to behave and instead show them how. Model what respect looks like and role play how to give it. Teach respect like you would any other subject area. And it is an area that, as teachers, we need to do more in the classroom. Respect isn't easy in today's classroom, unfortunately. It must be cultivated every day before it can take hold and become part of your room's culture. It must be taught and modeled and demanded through enforcement of your classroom management plan and your personal example. The good news is that it works. Even the toughest classrooms, when guided by a leader who makes respect a priority, can be transformed into one that sees its deep and abiding value, that understands that politeness and respect feel good both in the giving and the receiving. Thank you for listening, and I hope that I've given you some practical tools to help you. Remember, it takes daily practice for it to be effective. But I know that you can do it, and I believe in you. It takes courage, it takes strength, but you can do it. Continue to be the amazing educator that you are. Have a wonderful day.